I would have voted Chris Paul MVP. How do the Suns look when Chris Paul is still playing but not 100%? They are not the same team. But let's talk about the Lakers, because if Chris Paul is not going to be 100%, now the series, there's a couple days off now. Suns-Lakers do not play until Sunday. That's great news for the Suns. Get an extra day off, get Chris Paul healthy. He's not there, and they're not the same team. But we all know LeBron's the leader. I talk about this all the time. The NBA is full of talent. There's not very many leaders. LeBron's the leader of the Lakers. And it's money in the bank. You get that leadership every night. But once again, you see who the Lakers are when Anthony Davis is aggressive. But you don't get that with Anthony Davis every night. So whereas LeBron is the team MVP, most valuable, there's got to be some sort of bridge award for Anthony Davis. And I would say he is the team's MIP. He's the most impactful player. That third quarter was everything. Okay, 18 points, 5 rebounds, played every minute, and they blew Phoenix off the floor. Phoenix, good team. Phoenix, the 2 seed in the West. The superior conference, a 2 seed. Phoenix, good team. So LeBron's leadership and consistency, again, that's an automatic deposit. You get that every night. I mean, he'll have maybe 2 halves a year he doesn't play well. So you can always bank on LeBron's consistency and leadership. You get that every night. But when AD is aggressive, they not only beat teams, they crush good teams. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is a good young big. But AD had a crazy thing happen to his body. And I had a growth spurt in high school. I went from 5'7" to 6'2" over the course of a summer. I never forget my high school basketball coach. Oh, I got myself a quarterback. I got myself a shooting guard. Anthony Davis was 6'3" as a junior in high school. And then he was basically 6'11" as a senior. So Anthony Davis was a guard. And last night in the third quarter, you can see some of that guard come out. You can see that junior year of high school. For a big, he runs the floor better. He's more fluid. He can handle the ball better. He can put it on the deck and drive. He can pull up and shoot a jumper, pull back and shoot a 3. That's where he is different than other bigs. And DeAndre Ayton's a really good young big. But AD just took over the game last night. There's nothing DeAndre Ayton can do. That you're talking about in baseball, they call it a 5-tool player. When a guy can run and hit and steal and power. And boy, when Anthony Davis is locked in, you are looking at a big that can do everything. He'll put it on the deck and take you to the basket. He'll drive right through the middle of the lane. He can pull back and hit a 3. He can handle the ball, very comfortable, runs the floor, very fluid athlete. I mean, he hits the floor a lot. You ever notice that with AD? And that's Kevin Durant, too. Kevin Durant and AD get hurt a lot. They hit the floor a lot because they handle the ball so well. They're driving to the basket. Porzingis, by the way, for 7'6", kind of a slasher at 7'6". Used to be a slasher with 6'7". Porzingis is a slasher at 7'6". So Porzingis and KD and AD, they hit the floor all the time because they're driving. And you got a lot of body. That's why nobody loves a 6'5" running back. You want a small guy that goes through, right? Don't want your legs too exposed. AD is big, and he's crashing to the floor all the time. But part of that is he grew up a guard and had a growth spurt. And so when you watch that third quarter last night, LeBron's the most valuable player. AD is the most impactful player. And if Chris Paul is not ready to go Sunday, and at least 90-95%, this series is over. The third quarter for the Lakers was the best they have played since last year in the bubble. As a team, that was a great quarter of basketball. You're not going to get that every quarter in the NBA. You can't ask athletes to be all engaged and focused like that and play at that level for games. But third quarter was the difference in the game. The NBA's never had more talent. Don't listen to anybody. It's got more good basketball players and more basketball talent than it's ever had, including the Michael Jordan era. And just give me a minute on this. In the Michael Jordan era, it was a domestic league. There wasn't all these international players. Now you're searching the globe for all these players. And nutrition's better, training's better, coaching's better. The league's never had anything close to this kind of talent. 6'11" guys were clunky, back to the basket. You didn't want them shooting anything more than a free throw. Hell, guys moving out now, 7-foot guys shooting threes, international play. The league's never had more talent, but it's also never had less leadership. And I don't blame the players. It's the economics of the sport. Get to the pros. It used to be you would play high school for 4 years, and you'd have this legendary high school coach, and there was a culture, and he would talk about leadership. He would mold you. And then you would go to college for 4 years, and the college coach, you would see it. Sometimes you got to see it to be it. You learn. We all learn, right? How to be a parent, we watch our parents. How to be a leader, you watch a leader. So it used to be players would be in this great high school program with this old crusty coach who'd been winning for 30 years, but you sensed culture. And then you'd go to college and you kind of sensed, oh, that's this. Then you go to the NBA, and by 23, you're like, yeah, Tim Duncan was a leader. And Patrick Ewing was a leader. Well, because they'd seen it. Well, now it's AAU, which is mostly about that dude can play, let's bring him on the team. That's not about a culture. That's just get the best players. And then you spend 1 year in college, max. Listen, after my freshman year of college, I knew beer better than algebra. And nobody learns anything in 1 year of college. And then these guys come into the league, and you're like, well, they're great players, but they lack leadership. There's about 5 guys in this league that I would say, oh, that's a great leader. Every team used to have several guys. Went to a great high school program 4 years, went to a college program. Even the great players, Tim Duncan, Patrick Ewing, and they were in college for years. So a prime example is Devin Booker. Devin Booker is filthy talented. I mean, like insane. But years ago, Scottie Pippen took over for Michael Jordan. Jordan went to baseball, and Scottie was a top 10 player in the league, but he didn't have the emotional makeup to be a number one. And some of it was, when you're a number one, forget the media hovering over you every night. The other team focuses their game plan specifically to stop you. That's a lot. Do you make other people better? You will be asked now as the team leader. That's a lot. Are you a coach on the floor? That's a lot. You're asking me to drop 28 and defend and be it's hard to be a number one. Devin Booker last 2 games when Chris Paul's limited, worst plus minus in the series. He's never lacked talent. But I think Devin Booker is a little bit of what the league is now. The most talented I've ever seen it. Everybody can shoot. Everybody can put the ball in the deck. A lot of guys can. But I don't see the leadership. And listen, Chris Paul, Lakers' Suns don't play till Sunday. So they got some time here to get Chris Paul healthy. But what Phoenix looks like without Chris Paul being as effective, they look like Phoenix the last couple of years where they're talented. We're not doubting Booker and we're not doubting DeAndre Ayton. I'm not doubting any of these guys. But I think we have a leadership problem in the NBA. We don't have a talent problem. We don't have a coaching problem. We don't have I watch these games. These dudes are doing stuff now. It's insane. I remember last time I went to a dunk contest. It was in Los Angeles on a rainy weekend. We had guys jumping over cars, automobiles. Like talent's not the issue. But when Chris Paul's off the floor, this is why I said he deserved to be the MVP. He's an old guy. D. Wade, multiple years in college. Chris Paul, multiple years in college. Steph, multiple years in college. There are exceptions to everything. But Phoenix looks a little bit rudderless without Chris Paul directing traffic. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.